Okay, it's time for another review. Today I'm gonna review this new machine that I purchased from Sweetwater 2 weeks ago, which is a Korg Nautilus in 88 key version. Then I'm gonna compare it with another two popular synthesizer on the market, the Yamaha Montage and Roland Fantom. Quick story, the Korg Coronas was always the most iconic workstation out there. I used to own one until 2 years ago, which I sold it because it was getting to some hardware problems. So honestly, the Korg Kronos was getting long in the tooth, and the Korg knew they had to replace it with something new. So they either had to redesign the whole thing from scratch, which could result to a very expensive keyboard, and probably no one would buy it, or they had to come up with some new ideas, like a more streamlined version of that. So that's why they created the Nautilus, which makes sense, because imagine if they had the new version of the Kronos, they still had to build a cheaper version of it. The same way that the Yamaha came with this wise decision and they created the MoDX and then created MoDX Plus, and the Roland came up with the Fantom Zero. So they decided to get the midway, and they created this nice, beautiful machine which has the premium quality and look of a very Kronos flagship in a very more affordable package, and is more streamlined. The things that you get here, you get much of the goodness that you had in Kronos. You had the same 9 sound engines, you have a variety of beautiful voices. The voice quality, in my opinion, has been improved by 10 to 15%. Then you have better workflow, because in Kronos, however, you had a larger screen, but you had too many tabs. The menu was too busy and it wasn't that modern. So it was really hard to unleash the power that you had in Kronos. Whereas here it's really easy to grab any parameter, even though you don't have too many faders on here, but you have everything on the screen. And I like this slick design, a clean design, and you don't have too many knobs or sliders like Fantom, which is festooned with these faders and knobs. However, you appreciate this fact because you always have a fast and immediate access to all the digital filters and analog filters, the thing that you don't find it in here. At the same time, Korg Nautilus is the only workstation on the market, whereas Yamaha Montage is only a synthesizer. But any of these two machines, Fantom or Yamaha Montage, could be a full-blown synthesizer workstation as well, with the help of a DAW. Fantom has the best DAW integration, DAW integration, that you can record and play from here, so you don't even have to go to your computer screen. And the Montage, when you purchase a Montage, because the Yamaha owned the Steinberg, you get a free download of Cubase AI, which is one of the best DAWs on the market, and this one has a better integration with the Cubase as well. Some of the good features of the Nautilus is you have 16-track sequencer on the board. You have 16 almost effects, like 12 internal effects, 2 master effects, and 2 total effects. The sequencer on this one is very good. I believe the sequencer on both Nautilus and Roland Fantom are far better than what you get on the Yamaha Montage. The other thing that I like about this machine is because you have a DAW on board, so you can even record any soundtrack in here without need to do any editing on the DAW. So you can pretty much do everything on the machine. It's a self-contained machine. And these encoder knobs are like them, that you can push them and flush them, get them out of your way. You can control several things with them. However, I don't like the way that they've been designed. First of all, it looks flimsy and cheap, and then second, they don't have that much of grip. If you look at the encoder knobs on the Yamaha Montage, it's a rubber material, so easy to grab, and it has a concave design. The same way the encoder knobs on the Roland Fantom, they have grooves, so easy to grab. So that's one that you don't get on this machine. Screen is relatively responsive to touch. It's a nice screen. has a nice graphic. I wish it could have a screen like the one that you get on the PA5X, because this one is a capacitive touch, much better, far better resolution and faster, but that's what you get. So you can either download the app, which is called the Nautilus Remote, and hook this up to your tablet, and luckily, because you have too many empty spaces, you can put your tablet here and control the machine through your tablet instead of using this screen if you don't like it. Or you can download the software, which is called Nautilus Sound Editor, which I found it to be a very pesky and buggy software, and most of the time it's gonna conflict with your Cubase or Ableton. So either you have to download and use it on a computer that it doesn't have any of these two, or you have to go to your Cubase VST plugins and disable all the plugins for that software. Otherwise you cannot use it. Or you can use it actually as a plugin with your Cubase if you use the Nautilus as like a MIDI controller. So overall, I don't find it's kind of, I don't think it's gonna be very intuitive software, because it's a mirror of what you get here. So it depends on what you think. I didn't like the software, honestly. So you don't have the vector control that you used to have on the Kronos. You have that vector control on the screen. Arpeggiator is nice, as I mentioned. It's a very nice arpeggiator. You can program, you can edit. The sequencer is one of the best sequencers that I've ever seen. So you have forwarded sequencer on both Nautilus and Fantom in comparison with the Montage. However, on the Montage, because you have motion control and the motion sequencer, you get the multi-dimensional voices, and of course you have this impressive super knob that you can control up to 120 parameters at the same time. So it's a very impressive machine. I leave a link for you guys here that you can watch the story behind developing Montage by Yamaha. It's a very impressive story. So yeah, the Nautilus is a very great self-contained machine. As I said, it can easily beat both Montage and Fantom. So that means if I have $4,000 in my pocket to dispose and I go to any music store like Sweetwater, Craft Music, I don't know, Guitar Center, or if you're in San Antonio, Texas, if you go to Alamo Music, I might personally come out with Nautilus because it's 40% cheaper than these two machines. So the price point is the first thing that makes it more desirable. If the price doesn't matter, of course, any of these two machines could be better. Or if I want to compare this with the Yamaha Montage or Fantom Zero, probably it's gonna tie with the Montage Plus, and it's gonna lose against the Roland Fantom. So overall, it's a great machine. I really highly recommend this thing. All the voices on this one, especially the piano, the grand piano, the organs, they are great because you have different sound engines for each one. A large variety of synth voices. The guitars, honestly, I don't like the guitars on this machine. I personally, when I want to record and make a song, I just, as you can tell, I'm gonna record the guitar, play the guitar myself. I'm just gonna hook up my guitar to the DAW or the machine and record the guitar track, because to me that's more natural. But the only guitar that I can, and I'm talking about the acoustic guitars, of course the electric guitars are something else. The only acoustic guitar that I can trust that it is very similar to the real guitar is on the Yamaha Genus, and it is really, really nice and impressive. So I can even play with one hand. I don't even have to use any of these art buttons. You get the same features on the PA5X. I would say the PA5X is not still as good as the Genus, and the guitar voices on the Montage are identical to the Genus, but you don't get those effects because, as I mentioned, I can play with one hand. I can get double stop effect, I can get triads, I can get the fret noise, and this one I have to use any of these assignable buttons to get the same result. The acoustic guitars on both Nautilus and Fantom, they're really disappointing. I don't even like them, but the rest of the voices are great. In general, I believe except the pianos and organs and the electric pianos, which are very great on Nautilus, and most of the sampling voices are more natural on Yamaha products. The other problem with this machine is it's very slow. The boot time, the startup time is almost 2 minutes, which is very disappointing because the boot time on the Yamaha Montage is 30 seconds and the Roland Fantom is below 1 minute. So having a boot time for 2 minutes, it's really not acceptable. At the end of the day, what you need to notice is all these machines are great synthesizer workstation. They all have been designed for a professional musician like you. You can buy any of these things, take it home, be happy, because they have been designed with a different strategy. So that's why you get different capabilities or different values on each one. So the fact that I'm telling that the Yamaha Montage has a 3D or dimensional, multi-dimensional voices doesn't mean that the Nautilus is not good. Nautilus is by itself could be one of the greatest keyboards on the scene, or even the Fantom. I believe the Roland Fantom is the best synthesizer, of course. The synthesizer, I mean, it by itself, because it has the best keyboard, it has the wood hammer action keyboard, it has the immediate access to all the digital and analog filters. You have a large variety of voices. The pianos are great. So because of that, and you have a very, very good DAW integration, that you have nice interface here that you can record and play without need of touching your computer when you're working with the DAW or DAW, whatever you call it. So because of that, Roland Fantom is the best synthesizer. If you want to get something which is to be more self-contained and be a workstation, that's the only workstation on the market. As I said, you have a DAW on the board, so you can even record the audio track with the unit. You don't need even hook it up to any DAW. You have huge number of voices. You don't have aftertouch on this one. However, when you go to the MIDI, on the MIDIs you can activate the aftertouch here. So you can have aftertouch when you use this as a MIDI controller, but it doesn't have the aftertouch on board. And something that I mentioned I forgot to mention, is made in Japan, same as a Yamaha Montage. So yeah, it's a nice machine, as I said. If you, for instance, when you go to piano, and as you see, I don't know, you can easily grab this and control the damper, so you have nice graphics, great pianos. You have 9 sound engines. Anything that you had on the Kronos, those iconic sound engines are here. You have the same sounds. You have a few more sounds that you don't even have on the Kronos, but the sounds are improved here, and the workflow is much better than Kronos, because even though the Kronos had a larger screen, but the menu was too busy, you had too many tabs, but here you just go from menu to sub-menu, is more streamlined to work with. But you may ask me, okay, I had the Kronos, now I don't have it, or I want to sell it, but I don't like the Nautilus for whatever reason. What are going to be my next choice? I can recommend you to go with the PA5X. You might say, okay, PA5X is not a synthesizer, it's an arranger. But yeah, it's an arranger, but you have all those iconic voices here. You have all the pianos that you have here on the Kronos or Nautilus are here, electric pianos are here. You don't have too many synth voices. You have maybe 120, but you have some synth voices that you don't even find on Kronos. So you can buy this and pair it up with a very capable and powerful synthesizer like Yamaha Montage, and there you go. You have the most powerful music creating machine at your fingertips with this too. Yeah. But otherwise, any of these machines, by itself are a good machine. It all comes down to you as a musician to buy which one, because these are all created for professional musicians like you, but they are created with by different companies with different strategy to target different type of consumers. So it all comes down to you to choose which one. The fact that you might be a Korg fan or you might be a Roland fan, or what you want, what is your preference. If you want to have the best workflow, then there you go, the Fantom has the best workflow. If you want to have something more self-contained, to have everything on board and you don't have to use DAW too much, definitely Nautilus is the best choice. If you want something like an ADM machine out of this world with 3-dimensional voices, 10,000 arpeggios, of course the Yamaha Montage is the best. So it all comes to you. If you want to buy them all, of course you can go and buy them all. For me it was hard to choose, and then I had to buy them all because I loved all these machines equally. But if you just want to choose one of them, maybe you can just go with the Yamaha Roland Fantom, and just with the help of any DAW, it could be a full-blown workstation. But at this point, I believe if the price point is a very important thing, the Nautilus could be the best choice, because you get a very high quality machine, very slick design, clean cut design. It doesn't have too many knobs and faders, unlike the Fantom, which is festooned with those things. But it is nice. Yeah, I believe it can easily beat Montage and Fantom, Roland Fantom, only because of the price point. So this is gonna wrap up my review for now. And until the next review, bye.